Urgent. Pluto retrograde. The power structure just turned its eyes inward for 5 months. Something just reversed direction that most people did not realize was moving in the first place. On May 6th, Pluto stations retrograde at 6 degrees of Aquarius. And the force that has been operating beneath the surface of every power dynamic in your life, quietly restructuring who controls what, who holds authority over whom, who agreed to terms they never consciously examined. That force has just turned its gaze inward. For the next 5 months, Pluto is not pressing outward. It is pressing inward. And the difference between outward pressing Pluto and inward pressing Pluto is the difference between a power dynamic that is reshaping your world and a power dynamic that is asking you to reshape your relationship with it. Pluto Direct says, the structure is changing whether you participate or not. Pluto Retrograde says, now look at how the structure has been changing you. This is not a pause. Retrograde Pluto is not dormant Pluto. It is Pluto with the lens reversed, the same intensity, the same depth, the same capacity to reach the absolute bottom of whatever it touches. But the direction of that reach has turned from the external arrangement to the internal agreement. What you agreed to, what you allowed, what you surrendered authority over without realizing the surrender was happening. What you call normal, that is actually a power arrangement you never chose, but have been maintaining because the cost of examining it felt larger than the cost of continuing it. For 5 months, from May 6th through October, Pluto retrograde will bring each of these internal agreements to the surface of your awareness, one at a time, with the specific Pluto quality of something that cannot be unfelt once it has been felt. By the time this video is over, you will understand what Pluto retrograde specifically produces that Pluto direct does not, why the first 2 weeks of the retrograde are the most psychologically intense period of the entire 5-month cycle, and what each sign of the zodiac needs to examine before the internal audit reaches the territory they have been protecting. Stay here, because Pluto retrograde does not ask for your permission to begin the review. It simply begins, and what it reviews first is always the thing you most recently decided was not worth looking at. Let me start with what just happened. For the past several months, Pluto has been moving forward through the early degrees of Aquarius, the sign of collective systems, of how groups share power, of the specific tension between individual freedom and the structures that organize communities. Pluto direct in Aquarius has been externally restructuring the power dynamics in your social circles, in the systems you participate in the specific ways authority is distributed in the groups and institutions that shape your daily life. You may have noticed this as changes you did not initiate, shifts in workplace hierarchy, reorganizations in friend groups, the specific quality of something rearranging itself at a level you could observe but not control. Pluto direct does the external work. You witness it. You adapt to it. You adjust your position within the changing structure. Now, Pluto has stopped moving forward and begun moving backward. And what changes when the direction reverses is not the intensity. The intensity remains absolute. What changes is the target. The target is no longer the external structure. The target is you. Specifically, your relationship with the structure. Not how the structure operates, how you operate within it. Not who holds the power, why you agreed to the specific power position you occupy. Not what controls the system, what the system's control has been doing to you. Here is what Pluto retrograde feels like. In the first days after the station, May 6th through approximately May 20th, you will feel a specific inward pull. Not depression, not withdrawal. The specific quality of attention being redirected from what is happening around you to what has been happening inside you. Conversations that were urgent last week suddenly feel less pressing. The external drama that was consuming your attention, still present but somehow less magnetic. something else is pulling. Something interior. Something that requires your gaze more than the external situation does. That pull is the retrograde beginning its work. The external world has not changed. Your attention has been rerouted, and where it has been rerouted to is the specific internal territory where the power arrangement lives, the place where the agreements were made, the place where the surrenders accumulated, the place where what you call normal was constructed from decisions you did not fully examine at the time they were made. You may also notice that specific memories surface during the first weeks of Pluto retrograde. Not random memories. Memories of moments when you agreed to something that cost more than you realized at the time. The moment you said yes to an arrangement that quietly removed a piece of your authority. The moment you accepted a dynamic that you knew was unequal, but chose to maintain because the alternative felt too large to face. Pluto retrograde brings these moments back, not to punish you for the agreement, but to show you the agreement clearly enough that you can decide, with full awareness, whether the agreement continues. The most important quality of Pluto retrograde is this: nothing needs to change externally during these 5 months. The review is internal. The audit is of your own position within the structure, not the structure itself. When Pluto goes direct again in October, whatever internal clarity you gained during the retrograde will become the basis for external action. But the retrograde period itself is for seeing, for understanding, for the specific act of looking at the power arrangement from the inside rather than from the surface. Here is where this retrograde lands for each sign. If you are Aquarius or Aquarius rising, Pluto retrogrades in your first house. The review is of your own transformation. How the power restructuring has been changing you, not the world around you, you. The identity that has been forming under Pluto's direct pressure now gets examined from the inside. Are you becoming who the transformation requires, or who the transformation's pressure has been shaping you into? The distinction matters. If you are Leo or Leo rising, Pluto retrogrades in your 7th house. The review is of the partnership. The power dynamic in the most significant relationship has been restructuring under Pluto direct. Now, look at your position within that dynamic. Not what the other person is doing, what you have been agreeing to. If you are Scorpio or Scorpio rising, Pluto retrogrades in your 4th house. The review goes to the roots. The power dynamic in the family system, the home, the emotional foundation is being examined from the inside. What was built as normal in the family structure? Was it actually chosen? Or was it inherited without examination? If you are Taurus or Taurus rising, Pluto retrogrades in your 10th house. The review is professional. The career power structure has been reorganizing. Now, examine your position within it, not the politics of the workplace, your specific agreement to the authority arrangement you currently occupy. If you are Gemini or Gemini rising, Pluto retrogrades in your 9th house. The review is philosophical. The belief system that organizes your understanding of power is being examined. What you believe about authority, about control, about who gets to decide. Where did those beliefs come from, and do they still serve? If you are Cancer or Cancer rising, Pluto retrogrades in your 8th house. The review goes to the deepest shared territory. The power dynamics of intimacy, shared resources, vulnerability. What you have been agreeing to in the most private exchanges, now visible for examination. If you are Virgo or Virgo rising, Pluto retrogrades in your 6th house. The review is daily. The power dynamics embedded in the daily routine, in the work structure, in the health patterns. What you do every day that maintains a power arrangement you have not consciously chosen. If you are Libra or Libra rising, Pluto retrogrades in your 5th house. The review is creative and romantic. The power dynamics in creative expression, in joy, in romance? Where have you been performing pleasure rather than experiencing it because the power arrangement required the performance? If you are Aries or Aries rising, Pluto retrogrades in your 11th house. The review is social. The power dynamics within your networks, your groups, your collective future. What position have you accepted in the group dynamic that does not reflect your actual authority? If you are Sagittarius or Sagittarius rising, Pluto retrogrades in your 3rd house. The review is communicative. The power dynamics in daily speech, in how information is controlled in your immediate environment. Who decides what gets said and what gets suppressed? If you are Capricorn or Capricorn rising, Pluto retrogrades in your 2nd house. The review is about value. The power dynamics in what you own, what you are worth, what you allow yourself to have. Whose valuation of you have you been accepting as if it were your own? If you are Pisces or Pisces rising, Pluto retrogrades in your 12th house. The review is unconscious. The deepest power dynamics, the ones operating below awareness entirely. What has been controlling you from the level you cannot see, but can feel in dreams, in sudden anxieties, in the specific quality of fear that has no visible source? Here is what the 5-month retrograde is specifically asking of you. 1. Internal inventory. Not an overhaul of your external life, not yet. An honest accounting of the power arrangements you are currently participating in. The practice is weekly rather than daily. 1 sitting per week for the first month, each one answering a specific question. Week 1. Where in my life am I maintaining a power arrangement I did not consciously choose? Week 2. What is the specific cost of maintaining this arrangement? Week 3. What would change if I withdrew my unconscious agreement? Week 4. Am I willing to let the clarity I have gained become the basis for action when Pluto goes direct? These 4 questions, answered honestly, in writing over 4 weeks, produce the internal clarity that Pluto retrograde is designed to generate. The clarity does not require immediate action. It requires honest seeing. And honest seeing, maintained over 5 months, produces the specific quality of authority that Pluto respects. The authority of someone who knows exactly what they agreed to, exactly what it cost, and exactly what they will and will not continue to agree to when the retrograde ends. Write in the comments the power arrangement that just became visible in the first hours of Pluto's retrograde. The one you have been maintaining without examining. The person who comes after you needs to see that the internal audit has already begun. Subscribe and turn on the bell, because each month of Pluto retrograde brings a different phase of the internal review, and I will walk you through what surfaces in each phase, how to sit with it without acting prematurely, and how to prepare for the moment in October when Pluto goes direct, and the internal clarity becomes external authority. The universe has spoken. What comes next is in your hands.